This is a great honor. Thank you. I'd like to welcome all the dignitaries, all the bishops, and I'd like to invite you all, if I may, as I spoke to the Prince yesterday, to invite you to approach us for the real stories. I'm from the television side, and I'd like to tell the true story. I'd like to tell your story as you see it, as opposed to the way it's been perceived by writers and movie makers, etc. So please, may I ask you to approach us so that we can tell all the stories that you would like to see. Thank you. So, so what I was the CEO of a company called Sasani Studios for 15 years, just under 15 years actually. And but before that, I was in content creation, I was in broadcasting, I was at Mnet. I spent about 10 years at Mnet, just under 10 years. And I started, as I've mentioned to you, I was a director, a television director with Josh Feldman over there. And on KTV, we did live television shows, we did multinational shows. So that's where I come from. And then Sonny says to me, actually, funny enough, just coincidentally, last year I resigned from our previous company, which we grew, and I'll show you a little bit about what I did there. And just coincidentally, Sonny approached me this year to say, would I be interested? So now what I'm going to be doing, and I'm really, really, really excited about it, thank you, Sonny, for approaching me, is I'm going to be heading up the studio production division of FORUS. So I'm really happy about that. So I just want to show you how it started, how we started things. So the movie industry, people that might be watching will know that this is what an area on site at Sasani Studios used to look like. And you see this prefab on the, where's my pointer? Here we go. There we go, there we go. That prefab there, that's where Out of Africa used to have their offices. I'm going to be, I really enjoyed your presentation, Dr. Anna, so I'm going to be a little bit similar to you and tell numbers, real numbers. So this section of the property, I was explaining to Sonny and to Tilson the other day, was that we used to generate, on average per annum, about 2 million rand per annum in this little section. Anyway, so what we did is we did this. We knocked it down. But you'll see there that we were going around the house, because you know what it's like, we always had these deadlines. We had to achieve the deadline. It was like non-negotiable deadlines. So if there's a construction, Jason hopefully will be watching, and maybe Mike Carroll, we have to meet our deadlines. We have to meet, it's non-negotiable deadlines. Not this building, but I'll tell you another one. We had, when ENCA just started, you know, it was in the 1st of June in 2008, ENCA went on air for the very first time. I was told that I had to accommodate Rhythm City and Scandal. Well, let me put it this way. I pitched for it. I wanted it. I asked if I could do it. I told them it was possible. I saw the... I said to them it was possible. And I think, Sonny, this is where I really, really, really appreciate your approach to things, is that I said, number one, that I saw the opportunity, and number two, I wanted to make it happen. I was going to make it happen. So I approached architects and approached various construction people, so I had to start building. I could only start building on the 19th of November 2007, because I had Big Brother in, and I couldn't start building until Big Brother the finale of Big Brother was complete. And so as soon as the Big Brother's finale was complete, I could start building. On the 20th of November 2007, I started building. So anyway, I said to the architect, I have to do this, and we have to be finished by the 1st of April. And so he said to me, well, that's not possible. So I said to him, you know what? I said, you know what? If it's not possible, it's just we haven't worked out how to do it yet, quite honestly. And perhaps I'll find somebody else. You know, because I had to do it. It was either I secured the contract or I adhere to what the architect says and we just don't do it. You know, and I'm not that kind of person, so that's why I really enjoy this pressure. No, don't put more pressure, please. It's enough. It's enough. It's enough. Okay, so anyway, so you can see here, this is a different production, but with similar pressures, we had to start the we started the demolition before we could move the current tenants out of there. Now this is when Rhythm City and Scandal were already on site. They were in, and they used to edit in that little building. So we had to move them off-site into another location on the property before I could. So we had to start because of our deadlines. Anyway, we got them out, flattened. That's the property. This is exactly the same place as that. Looks the same. Well, it doesn't, but I mean to say. And then we started building up, going up. There's the floor going in. It's extremely level, because you've got cameras on wheels, so you can't have the cameras rolling along, and you can't have bumps. So it's what you call F1. So it's almost like glass. It's not quite, but it's almost like glass. I beg your pardon? Yes, absolutely. Quite right, sir. Quite right. Correct. And then here, complete. So now this is another, yeah. Sorry, say that again? Oh, I'm going back to the, yes, as part of FORUS. Yes, I'm in. And Nigeria. So I want to tell you what happened here with this property. So I said to you that, so it took us exactly 8 months to complete it. This is the only, I've done 5 of these developments, and this is the only one that we overran slightly. You know how what construction's like, you overran a little bit. Well, sometimes a lot. But this one, we overran by 1 week. And it's the only development that has ever overrun. And the reason we overran was because there was we had a problem with the steel. We chose the incorrect contractor for the steel. But anyway, this development that we started generating 2 million per annum. The moment it was complete, it was filled. We didn't have a waiting period, which is why I want to first find the broadcaster, the production company, everything, and then we start building. Then we fly at it, and then we populate. So I never had time for a launch party in the studio. Never. Because I had to get the clients in immediately. That's how I work, and that's why we don't have any flexibility on deliverables. And that immediately, with effect from the first moment that the client walked in here, we increased the turnover of this from 2 million to about 20 million. See, Tilson, Tilson was saying, we got to do this. I'm with you, we're kindred spirits there. So then this is another one that I did. This is unfortunately, what happened here is that I had a fire. We had Big Brother in the property, and we had a fire. I don't know if you might remember, a long time ago, there was a fire on the property. Anyway, a Big Brother burnt down, and very, very sadly, they moved out, and they went to our competitors, which are like our sister companies, not sister companies, but anyway. And then, and here you can see, there, let me show you. There, the aircon units going in. And here you can see, well, I put this in because, first of all, health and safety is extremely important. So whoever has the owner of the property, the directors of the property, are held legally liable for any incidents that might occur on site. So it's extremely, I used to march around my site and because I was held liable for that, you see. So I used to march around and make sure that they all got their safety gear on, that they got their hard hats on, and they obviously they take them off because it's inconvenient. I'm sure anybody that understands building, yes, you know, you take it because it's actually, I don't know whether it's actually safer or not, but that's the law, and we have to adhere to it. And if we don't adhere to it, then the insurance doesn't pay. So anyway, and that's the completed studio. The first production that went in there was The Voice. There we go. The Voice Nigeria. Yeah. So this was quite an expensive build because of The Voice. So this is the control room. Richard, you'll love this. Hey, phew. One day I'm going to show you this control. It's like so amazing, but it's just for The Voice. The Voice needed this, and it was like massive. We had 2 huge Soundcraft desks, and I think we recorded simultaneously 94 audio channels to mix later, to mix as well and go live, so it was massive. It was absolutely massive. And this is what happens. So I want to show you here. I want to show you this studio, this one where The Voice came in. Look what happened. It's a little bit more than double, I think, in 1 year. Yeah. And I want to show you, this really interests me a lot. you see that 2008, 2009, 2010? Look at this. During the global economic crash. The reason being, Jeremy was asking me this morning, and I was saying there's so many reasons. There's so many reasons for this. The one reason is that because during the global economic crash, all the smaller little smaller little studio companies, the ones that weren't built properly, can I put it that way? Like somebody's got a spare room and they want to make a studio. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with that. But they couldn't sustain themselves during the global crash. All the other little studios fell away, but they still the content was still required. So we brought them in, and they all came to Sasani, and so it increased. But also, again, you see what happens here is that you've got to be able to see the opportunity. You've got to be able to act on the opportunity and see that there's a possibility. Like for example, you can't see it here because I didn't include these numbers, but when COVID hit, when it first hit, we were all sent away into lockdown, and I got all my productions in, and I said to them, this is brilliant. This is fantastic. They were all going for my year, and they're saying that this is like, they're all going to terminate, and I said, no. This is you've got captive audiences. Everybody's sitting at home now. If we can't, we did editing on remotely, which is easy to do. But then I said, no. Jacques, listen to this. So I want to be able to do this. So I said to them, you've got to be able to continue the storylines, continue filming on, Jamie Bartlett, may his soul rest in peace, shame. Yeah. He must be filming his lines in his house, in character, and we must be able to do that and edit it remotely so that we can still continue, because here's your viewership. You're going to get a whole new market. That's the thing. It's opportunity, and then also having the courage to do it. I think that's what the most important. So here we are. Got to do it here, guys. This is where it's got to happen, yeah. Yeah. This is really it. Build infrastructure, create jobs. This is my passion, really. This is really, really, really what my passion is. As I was saying to Sonny and them, that what I like to do is I like to make money for the shareholders so that I can do what I enjoy doing, which is job creation, skills transfer, upliftment, all your things. Yeah, all your things. That's what I like to do. That's what feeds my soul, if you can put it that, your soul too, yeah. But obviously, make money. And that's what I think my primary objective here is. I must just bring in the money. So anyway, so Sonny says to me, I must come down, and I went down. So here, we're sitting over here. We're sitting over here, about, in that little white dot there. And we had a look here. Let me just go in a little closer. There we are. You can see it there. We are sort of sitting in that block there. And we had a look around, and we had a look to see whether we could do the casino. That's where we had the gala dinner last night. So there we got a problem. First of all, it's this height. And you can see in my studios that my studios were high, This is about 3 meters, I think, maybe. 3 meters, yeah. Who's saying yes? Who's saying it? You are. Oh, you are in construction. So you know your stuff. That's awesome. I might just ask you to come up just now. That's amazing. That's awesome. That's really good to hear. So anyway, so the height, it's impossible. It's not going to happen. Number one, the height. Number two, got the pillars. And the architect will tell you can't take those pillars away and you can't have a studio with pillars. And those pillars come from the foundations. So if you do, I beg your pardon? No. There are, no, you can. No, it depends what you want to do. It depends what you want to create. Do you want to do a, where is our, I can't see Makano. Is Makano here? Anyway, doesn't matter, Makano. From the DTI. He was asking me what happened with, is Makano there? Sorry, I'm not reading. Mr. Makano, there we are. He was asking me what happened to the Sky Rank. The problem with the Sky Rank was that it wasn't suitable for what they wanted to do. And I actually said to the guy that was doing it, do yourself a favor, lots of money was put into that, take that money and do it somewhere else, because it's not gonna work there. Yes, you can hide the pillars. Yes, you can shoot here. It's physically possible. But if you want to get those numbers, you're not gonna get it. It's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. So anyway, so we had another look at the property, and we said, okay, what we need to do now is we need to find another place to do it. Also, I might just add that when I was building a Scandals studio, we started by trying to retain some of that structure. And I was like literally about 3 weeks in, and I said, you know what? This is going to cost us too much money, and it's going to take us too long, and it's not going to work. We're not going to meet our deadlines. So I said, the plan has changed. We demolish, we start again. Build from the ground up. It's quicker, more efficient, and cheaper. And cheaper. And then you get what you want. You get the real thing, the right thing, you know. So anyway, so I said, okay, we don't want to chop down any trees because this is the site, and this is what also my passion. In my old studios, I used to have trees. You know, I used to make the builds. I used to have to. They used to have to get my personal permission to chop down a tree. So all those greenies, you know, I'm one of. No, I'm not exactly one of them, but I'm kind of. You know, if it's a good, even if it's not an indigenous tree, it's a tree. You know, it breathes. Yeah, it's beautiful. So anyway, so I said, okay, so what do we do here? So I said to the architect, Jason, if he's watching, I said to the architect and Michael Carroll, I said to them, how big is that parking lot? You see, here's the parking lot. I said, how big is this parking lot? They measured it and they said it's 16,000 square meters. I said, perfect. That's it. Bingo. Ta-da! That's it. Perfect. That's exactly what we need. That's all we need. We just need that. So there we go. So now it's going to be like this. Beg your pardon? That's all. That's all. That's easy. Okay, so anyway, so there the film studios are going to go. This is a graphic from Perception Architects, so my appreciation to them. There on the other side of the main road, we're going to be putting a shopping mall and a petrol station, which I think is going to be highly populated. It's going to be a huge success as well. And then here, the 500 square meter villas. So this is all subject to the soil conditions. So if the soil conditions work, I mean, a lot of work still needs to go into this before we can confirm this. Lovely little chalets at the mouth. I'm sure a lot of you have been to the mouth. So we're going to have lots of little chalets. And here at the bottom, we're going to have magnificent, magnificent prestige units. Beautiful, you know, so for high-end celebrities that want to come down, you know. And Sonny said I could have one. He didn't say no. He didn't. You and I, we're in. I can see we kindred spirits. Yeah. Anyway, so what I wanted to show you, there is a big rush to net zero, and I'm actually in this because there's nobody in South Africa that's actually doing this. You know, we've got so many other problems that we're worried about. We're worried about cash flow. We're worried about just generating enough revenue to sustain our business. And the last thing on our minds is the race to zero. But what I wanted to show you, okay, maybe I can ask you a question. I'm sure you all know who is the top solar energy producing country in 2020, yeah? Sonia, I'm sure you know. Guess. Yes, maybe. Possibly. Anybody else got a guess? Anyway, let's have a look. I'll show you. So I just thought this is quite interesting to have a look at this. You'll see, come on, there we go. You can see South Africa comes in at some point. There we go. Look, there's South Africa. Can you see it there? And then we've got Japan at the top. Germany's doing quite well. Germany's tops now. South Africa's unfortunately crashed out. Piteous. Not for long. Not for long. Germany's doing well. Italy, it's like the soccer, isn't it? Germany and soccer. And the US. Who was saying that the soccer who was saying? It was Steve was saying the US is going to do well in the soccer. There we go. Quite right. So you see, he's so smart. China. It is China. It is China. But it is on. It's a big deal now. Everybody has to have a carbon footprint. So now Sky Studios, they're building their new studios, the Ulster Studios. They've got to be net zero by 2030. I wanted to show you this. This was actually quite interesting. 5 tons, guys, on one production. 5 tons of plastic. That's just one production. Yeah, they recycled it, but how many of the productions are not? I think it's horrifying. But what I did want to show you is that you'll see here is the solar panels on the trailers, which I think is quite cool. Then you've got this I'd liked, because Amazing Spider-Man, they saved $400,000 just because of green practices. Yeah, yeah, amazing, hey? But also you'll see there how many tons of recycled material they had to have. So this is critical. Then Netflix, they want to be by the end of this year, they say. Let's see. Amazon is not being very ambitious. They're 2040. No, but I'm sure maybe they're going to revise their numbers. I don't know. So anyway, let's see how we score. So what I did is I got hold of, I know that we're in discussion with various people on this initiative because this is critical to our business, but I just happened to get hold of Marilus. Marilus is awesome. She's an architect, a normal architect, which I guess no normal, all architects are amazing. Hey, yeah. All architects are amazing, but she's an architect, and she's also got a master's degree in sustainable building. So that's where and she's devised it's a huge audit that you do, a green analysis. So you come in and first of all you put in all the things in place, and you come and evaluate it, and then you get verified and audited afterwards, and you get issued with a certificate. And what I like about her, you see at the bottom here, I said here, she does it, she reduced the impact without slowing down the crew's work. And I think that will resonate with a lot of productions, because we will spend a little bit extra on things, but we will not compromise on the efficiency. We have to deliver on time. There's this thing with that. And basically it's got energy saving, transport and accommodation, catering. How you do the catering is critical. The material you use is very important. It must be recycled. Where does it come from? It's got to be, everything's got to be sustainable. The waste management. So this is it. This is just a summary of what she does. Energy saving, all these things. And if you have a look right at the bottom here, communication, I think, is the one that appeals to me the most. We will score 39 out of 50, which is not too bad. It's not too bad, but I do believe we will get much better. But what I like about it is this communicating sustainability. So what happens is that's our commodity is communication. We go on air and deliver a message. That's what we do, and that's why I'm appealing to the kingdoms to come to me with their stories, so that we can tell your story. We don't want to tell our story about you. We want to tell your story authentically. And this is what I'm encouraging all the productions to do, is if they include sustainability in their final edit, they mustn't just shoot it and edit it out. They must prove to us that they've got sustainability in their final edit, that is for cinema release or online or whatever release it is, on air, whatever it is. If they can prove that, then we will give them a refund of some sort that we will negotiate at some point. Of course, we will also, we're going beyond this. So we're going to reintroduce wildlife. All our areas will be accessible thanks to Jason, the architect, and no indigenous vegetation will be destroyed where possible. In addition, we're also going to create jobs. Look at that. Beautiful jobs that we're going to be creating. Most of them are going to be local. And if I can just tell you also, when I was at Sasani, so how many is this? What is it? 400, 500, say 600 jobs there of the local community in the first year that we hope to create. Whoops. In Sasani, what I did, when I arrived on site in 2007, we had about 400 people on site. And then by the end of 2009, we had 2,000 people on site. So we had made about 1,500 jobs were created at that point because of all the productions and all that. So it's possible. It's not impossible. These are definitely achievable. But how are we going to get this right? I do believe that it's a gem of Africa. I really, really do believe it's a gem of Africa. Develop solid infrastructure and harness the local industry. Attract the international. So what I want to do is we're going to get institutions to become educational institutions to come and train the local community. We will attract them. We will give them jobs. We'll feed the cash back into the communities by employing them, employing a lot of people. And I'm looking at as a soap, as a starter, a daily soap, as a starting point. Just because the soap is a daily, it's sustainable, and it normally runs for about 10 years. So it'll give this initiative a good kickstart. You know, that's for me. It works well. So we'll bring in the training institutions. We'll upskill the local community. So that we can, so that they are suitable. So the local community will be able to service the internationals. They will be of that caliber to service the internationals. Gather the best creatives. Creator user-friendly. It's got to be easy for the productions. It's got to be easy for them to film here. Oh, there's Sunny. Source funding for productions. Endless, amazing locations. I went into, this is like a saloon, like a restaurant that is currently a little derelict, and I said, don't touch it, just leave it, just exactly like it is, because it's like, it looks terrible to the average eye, but for a creative, they're going to go and think, oh, that's so beautiful. You know. Anyway, so here are the criteria, and this is also for, I'm hoping for the online viewers. So this is what I've sent to a couple of soap producers, that I want to get the soap up and running ASAP with everybody's help, all the various people that are here that provide their help. I want the production, when they get a production, let's assume that it's a soap, but it applies to every other production as well. They must be filmed on site. I want to create a hub here. It must be here. It must be on location, like in the casino, which is not yet renovated, in here, in this room, using all the current facilities as locations, and then once our studios are complete, they can move into the studios, or they must move into the studios, depending on what the business plan is. First right of refusal of all the equipment, infrastructure, and locations on site, then there will be key personnel that we supply, like our engineering. We have to supply the engineering, that kind of thing. We have to supply. Then at some point, we will, in each of the productions that we fund, is my thing, we include the banking integration into the script. So now, but it has to obviously be in line with the broadcast procedures and practices as permissible practices. So now, for example, with the soap, I'm looking at broadcasting the soap on SABC1. I hope to get, I'm aiming for 7:30 in the evening, so it's a good time slot. And then the SABC permits a credit and a mention in every single episode. And so the mention will be just the banking interaction app, the banking interaction solution will be just part of the script. And the reason, the reason why I want to do that is because I want it to become understandable. I want it to become, because a lot of people are saying to me, well, it's like me too, actually, it took me a while to actually, I think Mary said to me the other day, it's finally dropped, you finally understand, Yeah, it took me a while, it took me a while to actually grasp this concept, and it is difficult to grasp this concept, So I'm thinking this way we will just normalize it and make it accessible and easy to understand. On a communication about sustainable practices, 10 hours. So I said 10 hours. 10 hours is audience ratings. 10 hours is exceptionally high. The SABC contracts they stipulate that you must achieve 7 hours or you will be terminated. So 10 is pushing it. So we can discuss that and maybe negotiate with the potential producers to see what we can do. But it would be nice to get that. But obviously, we're going to do smart contracts, implement all these criteria that we've been discussing over the last couple of days, implement all of that into the solution, and of course, employ, upskill, and provide formal education to the local communities. So here we are. This is what I hope to do. This is what I hope to do. As 2 soap studios, we're going to do this straight away. As soon as we get the confirmation on the soap, 600 square meter, 800 square meter, state storage, offices, grid height 7 meters. So you can see 7 meter grid height, ceiling height 9 meters. So this is 3 times this. Yeah. No pillars. There's the stage. This is the same thing. What? No pillars. No pillars. Critical. No pillars. And then there's another one. Another studio. There's a 3rd studio that we're planning, and I'm opening it up to the industry because I want to get more feedback on it. I want to know what will work for the industry. So I asked Mr. Harvey if we could play his video. This is a promotion for a show that he put on air, Mr. Steve Harvey. He put on air some time back. But this is like now you can see. Look, there are no pillars in the studio. Look at the grid right up there. Look at the lights. Look at the drop arms. The drop arms are what's holding the lights. And the lights themselves are this size. Thank you, Mr. Harvey, for the thing. Oh, I mustn't do it again. Okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. So this is not, the studio you see there is not it's not these sizes. So it's not this is a 8.2 meter grid height. So here, 8.2 meters there. But we're looking at 14 meter grid height, 16 meter ceiling height. Yeah. It's not unusual in terms of studios. Cape Town Film Studios has a 4,000 square meter studio, which is double that, and a 21 meter grid height. 21 meter. Yeah, it's hectic. the technique. But you know what I think about this one, these sizes is, well, look, this is it. We're putting it out there. We're saying, what do you think? What do you think will work? Is it going to be VR? Is it going to be, what is it going to be? How should we do this? And this one, I think we can assess the appetite of the industry before we go ahead. Same thing again, that's the studios, and here's our timeline. As soon as we secure our broadcaster, as soon as we get a go-ahead, we start our studio design, 3 months. I can't remember, maybe Jason said 4, but I'm sure we can do it in 3. Council approval. So, so Shaik, where's Shaik? He said he would help me get council approval quickly. So, 3 months. Approval. Then we start construction. You see, I've given it 6 months because, but I did do it in 4.5, as I told you. Let's just say 6, just to be safe. Then as soon as we get the approval, we come straight down here. This is the soap production, and we start here with the request for proposals. That's already happening, as you know. It's already happening. We're currently doing the proposal assessment. Then we appoint the production company. This is really the proposal assessment by the SABC. Then we appoint the production company, and we start script development immediately. And then as soon as we can, we start with exterior shoots. So exterior location shoots, that's not in studio. So we can get ahead and start filming, start employing people, start generating revenue, start giving the funds back to the community. And then once the studio is complete, then we move into studio there. And then we start with the second one, which may or may not start exactly then, because depending on what feedback we've had from the industry as to what they want. And that's it. Fish Studios. Finished. Easy peasy. It's not. It's very scary. It's actually very scary, to be honest. To be honest, it's very scary, but I believe it's totally doable. I've done it before. It's very difficult here because it's different, but it is doable. Yes, ma'am. Into the microphone so it's on recorded.
So
my flight to America is
you're coming to US for
I'm
us.
coming to back.
But we did one of the contracts that we were awarded about 2 years ago for the White House was the United States African Development Fund. And so they have like off-energy grid funding grants. That means you ain't got to pay it back. You know what that
would be amazing.
Yes. So so I want to reach back and tap into some unawarded funds, and you could use it because it's set for East and West Africa. I don't know what part of Africa I'm in right now. So close enough.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
But if they have that fund, they would have additional funding, and if we could do some kind of cross collaboration, then
definitely.
I'm sure we could tap
that would be
into that
amazing.
money.
Thank you,
So
Dr. Anna. Sincerely appreciate
I'm putting
it.
that to work.
A big bump? Mr. Shaik.
Eileen.
It's okay. I'll let him off the hook. He didn't hear it. He didn't hear it. Sorry.
It's Michael Tillinger here. A question regarding your soap opera ideas. How are you going to pitch for people to present ideas and script? Is that the idea for people to pitch?
Yeah. So what we're doing now currently, this is very exploratory at the moment. So because, and it's high risk. I'll be honest with you, it's exploratory and it's high risk. This has never been done before. So what I've done is I've approached a couple of production companies and I've said to them, look, this is the risk you take. It may or may not happen. These are all the risks. It's an unprecedented situation. So I'm happy to have anybody send me their scripts as quickly as possible. I'd like it because I really want to move forward with this. But if you've got a script, please send it. You've got my email address there. Please send it to me, and we will consider it because we want the best script. At the end of the day, we want the best script. But there are risks attached to it. And if you're happy with all those criteria that I said, and all the risks attached, then please do come along. Obviously, we'll have a little agreement that we sign, and with all the criteria that the SABC need, and it may not be on the SABC. The SABC might just say, well, I mean, I have been in discussion with the SABC already, and they have shown had a favorable response. but it might still not happen, in which case I have to look elsewhere. And then the design of the show, because like, for example, I can't take this soap that I'm designing for SABC 1 and broadcast it into Nigeria. It's not going to work. You know, it has to be a completely different script. So that's what I'm saying. So the risks. So these producers have all put effort into producing this on the basis that it's a highly risky situation. But I mean, in my mind, I don't really think it is that risky. But I just want to put the risks to you. I didn't put it out there, but I am putting it out there now. You know, so that if you want, this is just one production. Once we've got the bread and butter in place, then we will do many other productions. I'm just trying to make money, and I'm just trying to get a sustainable business. I'm trying to create jobs, and I'm trying to get some money back into the industry. Once we've got that in place, then we can do all the other fun stuff.
Wonderful. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning again.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, Xandilomzi Aluta, Kwacho Conjwa, Kuspekuza Kandlela. Let me greet the kingdoms and everyone available today. No, I just want to commend you once again about the type of approach that you are using towards these things. Because I was just having a discussion with Josh.
Yes.
To say that there is a lot of native talent out there. And I'm glad that the manner in which you are approaching things, you are doing them in a more, robust and a more inclusive way.
Totally.
With regards to this talent.
Absolutely.
That I'm talking about. Because remember that, that prior non-conventional learning experience, the one that you acquire from the University of Life. I mean, it talks about the kind of native intelligence that is there. And also, I mean to say, with regards to our youth in particular, in your rural areas, people, who are disenfranchised, who are marginalized, and so on. But so long you are able now to reverse, and turn the tide.
Exactly.
And bring as many as possible people, mainstreaming them, meaningfully into this program, and also turning the narrative, that there is nothing positive that can emerge from Africa.
Exactly.
These Afro-pessimistic notions and a melancholy of conclusions that we can never be able to achieve anything. Your kind of approach, I commend it.
Thank you.
Keep it up. Let's push
Thank you,
on.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. If I may just answer to you, sir. Mashego is coming to talk straight after me, and he has got the most beautiful stories of brilliance that is coming out of Africa, innovation that is phenomenal. And he approached me so that I can help him make documentaries, and that's what I'm hoping to do. And we're going to try and get them onto an international broadcaster. And again, I go to the kingdoms and say, please give me your stories. We want to tell the real stories, and we want the world to know the real stories. Let it not be our interpretation of your stories. It must be real, authentic stories. Yes, sir.
Hi, Eileen. Thank you so much again. All protocol observed for the kingdom and all dignitaries in the room. I've got two questions based on your slides. So the one is to better understand the project timeline. So you mentioned project timelines. I want to understand if those are purely for the inside SOPRA or SOPI area, or are we speaking about the new net zero studio in the parking lot? And additionally, I wanted to also ask you, go back to the slide where you now proposing that there'll be a development around a new shopping center on the outside as well as a petrol station.
Yes.
How does that fit into FORUS? So I understand you are film studio side.
Yes.
Who is now in charge of the shopping center and the film and the filming station outside, and how are the construction timelines on the outside related to the film studio construction. So is there a presentation that shows how that construction element will run concurrently or in parallel or after the next, and what are the phases around that?
So thank you for that question. I'm going to pass that on to Sonny, if I may, the petrol station, et cetera, because I'm focusing primarily on the television studio. And yes, these timelines, I'm just focusing primarily on the soap because I want to get that soap up and running. All the other productions, we've had a slate of so many companies that have come to us and said, please make these movies. And ultimately, we will be making the best of the best. We will be bringing all the brilliant movie makers. I don't know if you know Bridget Pickering, who is recently, she was the executive producer of Hotel Rwanda, I'm not sure. She's like so excited about this. There's Pumla Hopa, who is from this area herself. She was the executive producer of Isidingo for many, many, many years. There's so many people that are interested. There's Josh Feldman sitting right there. He's got his plate so full right now that I'm starting to worry about him, you know. But it's great. You know, we've got, this is what I want to do, is I want to bring brilliant minds here. And in terms of the Soundland, this is just the soap for now, because that's the bread and butter. Once we've got the bread and butter, once I've got a reasonable revenue and a sustainable income, then we will start with all the other projects. Obviously, they'll be concurrent as well, but this is just currently for the soap. That's it. And obviously, then here's the other studio. The other studio is here. The big studio is there.
If I can also just talk to the other developments, our strategy here, we've partnered with the community. It's a revenue sharing lease. And the costs of running this place are quite high, particularly with a golf course that needs, you know, you've got to cut the grass. So our objective was to get to a cash flow positive position as soon as possible. So we have subcontracted the development of the petrol station and the shopping centre with some other mavens. So we've carved that off separately, because at the end of the day, it's their field of expertise. We're working with Total, who've been amazing in getting us fast-tracked, so we can get. We're hoping to get the petrol station open before Christmas. Still get the Christmas rush. We've got some anchor tenants in very advanced negotiations. I won't say who it is. Okay. And. So you know, that's also good job creation opportunities, and there's a real need for a filling station here. There's nothing in the area. Yeah, so it's going to be the start of building infrastructure here, and it's far advanced, easy to do, and at the end of the day, you know, we're working with the community to make as much money as we can out of the assets that exist here. So that's happening concurrently. The environmental process has already started. I've never done development, so this is all new to me. But there are a lot of forms, and more forms than in banking. Yeah, you know.
You're the expert. Please
Yeah.
help.
So we're hoping to have, you know, all of this up and running within months.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. Thank you.